Good morning and welcome everyone. One moment while I just get my guest up on stage. Cool. So joining me today is Night Howard, our CEO and co-founder. While everyone just jumps on the call, feel free to let us know who you are and where you're from. It's great to know who we're talking to in these webinars. I see there's quite a few familiar faces coming to the webinars lately, so that's really nice to see. Hey, Night, how are you?
Good morning, Stacey. Hey, morning, everyone.
Cool. So I'll get right into it. Night is here, CEO and co-founder of Relab, and we've got a great session lined up for you. As you're all aware, Auckland CVs have been updated this month since 2017, and as the property market has gone through a lot of changes since then, it's been interesting to see how the values compare and what trends are going on. Obviously, we've gone through different price trends, increases in new subdivisions since 2017, and I guess Aucklanders have somehow somewhat changed the way we live a little bit with the changes in the property market. And we got the CV data from Auckland Council. So here at Relab, our CTO Leon and Knight have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with the data and analysing the changes in the values. So we'll be taking you through what we've discovered at the end of the session. We'll take you through an exciting new Relab feature as well.
Cool.
So just a few admin things quickly. You will receive a recording of the webinar at the end, just in case you have to pop off or you miss anything, any issues. And if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat throughout and we'll get to them if it's relevant, or we'll get to them at the end. Cool. So to start off with, Night, I'll just kick us off with a few quick stats. As per a recent Stuff article, the latest values show a 34 increase in the Auckland's region average, and however, the increases per local board area show a lot of variations. So the largest increase in a local board level was Great Barrier, which was up 59%, while the lowest board level area was 15% in Waitemata. So there's quite a lot of variations right around there, and we'll look more into that on a suburb level as well later. So you'll probably be quite familiar with Relab at this point. We show unbiased 360-degree property data, one of those points being CVs. And we do pride ourselves on providing you, the property professional, with that data and leaving the decisions up to you because you've got the expertise. But we've found through talking to a lot of customers that we've got a lot of questions about the changes in the CVs, why there have been quite significant changes in some areas and other areas not. Maybe a neighbouring property is quite different from another. So that's what we're going to discuss today. We did quite a big deep dive into different factors in the CV, such as location, zoning, property type and title, does property have development potential, and character and condition of the house. We talked about all of this in an article in our blog post, so I'll chuck that in the chat later on, so you can read about that later on. I'm just going to share my screen so we can do a bit of a deep dive into some of the data. Oh, sorry, one moment.
Not a problem. Hey, morning, everyone. Welcome. As Stacey said, if you join us a bit late, please feel free to just say hi in the chat channel, just to say who you are, where you're from, and any questions throughout this webinar, please feel free to ask away. Hi, Daniel. Good to see you. And I can see Vienna from our team saying hi.
Oh, sorry, Night, I'm having issues. Do you want to share the presentation and I'll talk us through it?
Not a problem. So give me one sec. Stacey and team, please bear with us. Let me see if I can share my screen. Ooh, it doesn't appear that I'm able to. I don't have the screen share option, Stacey.
Oh no. Okay.
Do you want to have another go?
Yeah. Sorry.
We've done webinars many times, everyone, and I was thinking this morning, look, it's just technical issues, but let's hope we get it resolved very soon. And thank you very much for your patience. Hi, Saray. Hi, Lily and Sid. Quite a few familiar faces I see. Tom. G'day, Tom. A bit overcast, but still beautiful Coromandel view. Oh, awesome. Awesome. How lucky, Tom. It's a bit overcast here in Auckland as well. But it's Friday.
Sorry, I'm so sorry for these.
So good.
Yes.
Hey, Stacey, just a thought. Would you like me to jump into the admin and try and see if I can share from my side?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, guys, one moment.
It's all good. We have a problem. We'll brainstorm and try to get it resolved for you very soon. Okay, I'll jump off for a sec. Hello. Hi, everyone. It looks like I'm back in, and I'm going to invite Stacey to join me. We might have got this problem solved. Let's see.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Woo. I think we're good to go. Hey, sorry for that technical issue. Let me try and share my screen, and then can everyone see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. So over to you.
Cool. Yeah, so this is our deep dive into the CV data in Auckland. If you want to skip to the next slide, we'll go right into it. Cool. So the first one is a bit of an overview on residential zonings versus business zonings. You'll see the residential zonings in the nice green colour. You'll see there was a 34% increase in mixed housing urban. Following by terrace housing and apartments, closely by that. And then out of the 400,000 addresses, there's been a 32% increase in median CV. And then going over to their business zonings in the purple, you'll see heavy industry and light industry with the top two winners there. Heavy industry increasing by 54%, and that is out of the 73,000 addresses, leading to a 22% increase in median ratio in median CV. Cool. Now we're going to go deeper into the residential suburbs. So obviously Whangaparoa, massive increase. Wainua is a bit up there as well. But yeah, 150% compared to the next one's going at like 60 to 50%. There's been a huge increase there, which might raise some flags for some people being like, why is that so much than compared to others? Oh, good question there. Night, what is future urban zone? Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, I'm just jumping back in here. Okay, future urban zone. If I may just go back here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, future urban zone. It's a really, really good question. The official definition of residential only does not include future urban. It includes mixed housing urban, suburban, terrace house, single house, and mixed rural. But we've decided to add future urban here because it's kind of a special category, which is of relevance. So quite often future urban zones are determined by Auckland Council, but they are very, very close to existing urbanized zoning. So quite often you find future urban zone right next door to a single house, and future urban zone used to be a rural mixed use, used to be a coastal rural or whatever. But basically they're year marked for the next phase of urbanization, meaning that right now future urban zone, you cannot develop, you cannot build multiple dwellings on it, generally speaking. But in the future, there will be a chance of a plan change or zoning change. That future urban zone will be turned into a mixed housing suburban or a single house. Now, there's a huge caveat on that because it's not a guaranteed thing, and it's ultimately up to the council to decide, does it have good transport support, does it have good infrastructure, stormwater, wastewater, etc., does it have the demand, and then they'll make a decision. And there's no fixed time frame on it either. I mean, future urban can take 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years before a rezone application is looked at. So that's future urban. But we decided to show you here anyway, because over the past 5 years, we've seen numerous examples of future urban zones being rezoned into one of these categories. Cool.
Cool. Thank you so much for that. Well, that was a good question to
Very
address.
good.
Yeah. Cool. Yes. So the suburbs. Whangaproa, massive increase compared to others. So we're going to look into more of why that is happening. Yeah. Cool. So Whangaproa, you'll see on the left-hand side, this massive increase has come from terrace housing and apartments, which is led from only 65 addresses, which leading to that big increase. So super small sample size and a massive increase has led to this overall increase, which might be a bit deceptive if you're in the Whangaproa region, but not within this small development area. So a bit of context behind that, which compares to Mangere East, where we're looking at a much wider range of addresses, almost 5,000 addresses, which are also including mixed housing urban, terrace, mixed housing suburban. So there's a lot wider range of addresses being incorporated into this increase. And I've got an increase of 56%, which was, you'll see there in the list of suburbs, is quite in line with the general Auckland increase. So yeah, we've got a bigger sample size, showing a bit of an overview there. And Omaha, obviously Omaha is great batch area for Aucklanders. This increase has come from mixed housing suburban and single house zoning. So again, and a more average overview with Omaha compared to that Whangaproa increase.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Stacey, because quite often we see headlines of, hey, the medium or average CV increase for local board area has gone up by a certain percentage. While that's really, really helpful information, you really want to drill down into suburb or even more granular level of details to actually uncover, what is the number that's made up that medium or that average to gain local insight. Because as we know, real estate and properties is all about locations. And when you see the medium CV increase, what we're comparing with is we're comparing the latest CV versus the last CV, which was 2017 CV, because back then there was unitary plan was only just came into play. So that CV prior did not take into the different type of mixed housing urban, mixed housing suburban zoning. So it's really great. We really want to drill down and break down the different type of zoning, residential and or business, to give you that level of intelligence. So it's great to look at these three suburb examples because they're very, very different.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move on?
Yes. Yeah, so we're going more into underground surfaces, which has quite a bigger impact. Obviously, starting with mixed housing urban, you'll see the median increase is quite in line with the percentage of wastewater connection and stormwater connection. No, do you want to talk more to that?
Sure. Why do we think this is of interest, of this is important, is because of the unitary plan, many of these zoning types has the potential to be subdivided or developed on. But that's just a paper, sort of on paper theory. But when you actually carry out further due diligence, you need to figure out it's the right topology, it has the right infrastructure support, being mainly wastewater connection and stormwater connection, to be able to carry forward, or quote unquote shovel ready projects. So in this case, we've carried out some analysis between stormwater and wastewater connectivity and the proportion of CV increases, and the finding is very, very interesting. So of the ones that's got wastewater connection, future urban led the way, 40% increase, on meaning that maybe one day they're ready to be rezoned and developed. And then with stormwater connection, what you can derive from here is, generally speaking, sites that with stormwater connection and wastewater connection outperform the medium, which is the medium CV here. For instance, if we look at mixed housing suburban, the ones that's got wastewater connection, it's got 32.5% medium increase compared with 31%, generally speaking, right? So we're showing you the macro trends here.
Cool.
Do you want me to carry on? Oh, no, you go, Stacey.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so now we've got title types and the impact on CV. So obviously, there's quite a lot of variation in this one. We've got mixed housing urban, sorry, and terrace housing and apartment, which have been particularly freehold has increased quite a lot there. And then we're seeing cross lease in the rural and coastal area has gone down quite a bit, which I imagine is maybe less common in those areas.
Or smaller sample size, possibly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Stacey, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is another angle to look at the impact on CV, because CV is just a number, right? But what does the number mean? What are the thinking and the logics and the trends that's behind it is what we're trying to uncover here. So in this case, that we looked at title types, which, as we know, is an ownership or legal construct. So we have freehold, cross lease, and units being the three most popular title types. And generally speaking, freehold had the biggest sort of median CV increase, comparatively speaking, compared with cross lease and units. It is, again, super, super interesting that you look at unit titles had the least amount of CV uplift, and freehold had the most amount of CV uplift. Okay, so I think that's the end of our presentation. I'm going to switch back to my main screen, check if we have any questions from our audience.
No questions so far, but I've got one for you.
Sure.
Obviously, a big question that's I've seen come up is, how far do we count on CVs? Do we take them at face value? Do we take them as the be all and end all? What's
Sure.
your view on that?
Wow, that's a really, really good question, Stacey. Just close the door. Today's my son's teacher's only day at school, so he's homeschooling. Okay, so CVs, why is it relevant? Should you take it at face value? So what is CV? CV is a number that council worked out every 3 or 4 years on all properties, and by law they have to do that. So it's a legal requirement, and the reason for them to do that is A, that there is transparency on property value sort of across the local authority level, and B, that some of the rates or ratings decisions can be made on the CV. Now, any CV is made up of land value, LV, and improvement value, IV. So that's the two main component to it, and the fact that your CV has increased by a lot does not necessarily mean that your rate will increase at the same proportion as well, although it may have some impact. But council really, they have a lot of investment and infrastructure decisions to make. So, but a few misconception is my CV has gone up by 20%, so my rate's gone up by 20%. That's not true. And secondly, if you're not very happy with your CV, whether it's too high or too low, the council does provide you a channel on their website to object to the CV number. But in doing that, you need to have facts. You need to have evidence and fact to support your argument, whether you're for or against. So I think next we'll spend the next 20 minutes or so taking through everyone our latest product, and is super relevant to CV and super relevant to valuation. It's called CMA, or Comparative Market Analysis. I just read Nathan's question. Freehold outperforming cross lease, is it because of the CV weighs land higher than improvement value? Good question, Nathan, and we will segue into the next part of this session, which is showing you what CV is made up of and how to interpret that, and most importantly, how to land your own conclusion for yourself, or if you're a property professional, for your clients. Okay, Serene, I'm going to come back to that question later, okay? So let me share my screen again. Hopefully this time technology will allow me to do that. Okay. Hello, hello. All right, so can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Right, so I've just landed on Relap's homepage, and first I want to show you two features, right? The first thing is I'm just going to type in or go into any address. So now you're logged in. You're logged into to Relap, and you are a pro user, meaning that you have unlocked all the main features. We have added a CV tab on the map, so you can find it here. It's between consent and listings. So when you turn on CV, this will give you a visual representation of the CV of your subject site and all the neighboring properties. So the number shows the latest CV, but there is also a percentage increase. So that increase represents the CV uplift between latest CV and the previous one, which was 2017. Now let's look at the number. How interesting, because even within this street or suburb, some of the CV has gone up by 25%, 29%, 19% even, and others has gone up by 103%. Super interesting, right? And if you want to read into that further, we allow you to do that. Let's say, hey, what's made this site CV almost double, while the rest of them are just 20 to 30% increase? So we can do that by clicking on this address. And once you're there, you scroll down. So what I'm doing, I'm scrolling down, and in this section, we have updated the CV to be the latest CV. We can see the latest CV is 104% compared with the last one, and that's mostly driven by land value. You know, land value has gone up by almost 100%, and there is no changes to the improvement value, which stayed put by 25,000. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I had my questions around what does the improvement value mean, right? Does improvement value represent the cost of building or replacing the existing house on the land? And as it turned out, it was a misconception. So improvement value literally means whether there has been any improvement or decreases of the value of your dwelling on the site. So 25K doesn't mean that it costs 25K to rebuild a house. It just means there's no changes to the house. You haven't put in a new swimming pool. There's been no added garages to the site. So that's the definition of improvement value. Well, land value is what we should be paying attention on, because in many cases it dominates the CV, right? The CV value. And we want to show you how to assess and determine land valuation using our CMA tool. So how do we do that? We go back to Relapse homepage, okay? And then in the shortcut area, which is the top right corner, click on it. We have a number of very, very useful tools, which is shortcut here, and you can see CMA. So we're going to click on CMA, and this gives us Relapse CMA, which stands for Comparative Market Analysis. Hey Stacey, I can't see the chat channel, so please feel free to let me know if there are any questions as we go.
Will do.
Okay, so why don't we just put in an address, right? Let's just put in an address. You know, any of these will do. So once I've put in the address, so the first thing is you will see we get taken to this screen, and on the left hand side of the screen we have a list, a very, very long list, 268 records of recent sales, and on the right hand side we show you where they are on the map, right? So this gives you, at the same time, you can look at it from a map point of view and go, hey, I'm interested in that address, or you can look at the list. Above the list, we have a number of filters. So what is our subject site? Our subject site is a freehold and a mixed housing suburban in Papatoetoe. So what we can do in order to refine our splits, because what you want to do is compare apples with apples, right? And then determine what is a reasonable and relevant price for whatever site you're looking at. And we allow you to do that. So let's refine the search a little bit. Let's first go titles. Our subject site was freehold, so we want to select freehold only. And our subject site, the zoning type, I think, is mixed housing suburban. So we want to lock in to mixed housing suburban. So once I've done those two, I go apply. This suddenly refines or shortens our shortlist to only 76 out of 200 and something. So that's first step. Second step is we have another filter which allows us to choose the last sales price. So anything, you know, below 2.5 mil, that's fine. And the next one is radius. So how big or how small do you want your search to be? If I want to be really, really localized and relevant, I can just decrease the search radius to 1K. But if I want to have a general, if I want to cast the net wide, I can go to 4, 5, or even bigger, but that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to stick with maybe 2K or even 1K of search radius. So once I go apply, then we're looking at a much smaller, you know, only 15 records. So these 15 records are all freehold, are all mixed housing suburban, which aligns with our subject site, which is freehold and mixed housing suburban. So at any given time, you can click on subject site, little icon down below, which gives you just a reminder of your subject site. We also have a little shortcut here that says stats. So when I click on that, this gives me a general stats, not of the whole suburb, but of our search radius. So of the 1K radius, the medium CV is 710,000. The medium days on the market is 37 days, and the medium sales price is 1.11 mil. And we've also worked out the medium cost, median dollar per square meter for the land for this area, for this particular search. So again, this is unique to Relab. No other systems allow you, give you this information on the fly, but we do. Cool. So we've also calculated the land, you know, costs per square meter on every site here. So as a property professional, as a real estate agent, you can go, hey, I'm really interested in this one, but where is it on the map? oops, but where is it on the map? You can click on show on the map, which then takes us to the site. And once you're site, you can investigate the site further by turning on underground services, by turning on whether there's any flooding, or turning on contour. So all the powerful features that Relab's main products provide you is also available here in our CMA tool. Any questions so far? I just want to make sure we don't go too fast. We're good?
Yeah, we're good. Nathan said you guys should divide the CV and or sale price by the land size. And then Great Mind Thinks Alike, so I think you saw the land per square meter.
Yes, Nathan, you're on the money. We've got lands per, we've got land dollar per square meter. Tick, we've done that. We've also worked out sale to CV percentage. So this site was sold for 1.112, and compared with the CV, there is a 46% uplift, and the LV ratio from the CV is 80%, whereas the site above has an LV ratio of only 68%. So obviously, that's a proportion of land value as part of overall CV. Okay, so once we've done that and we're happy with whatever we've chosen, I can go. You can add them to your own list. Add to my list, and then when I go to my list, now I have 2 of them, which gets added to my list, which is useful later on. So this is the first step of our CMA process, or comparative market analysis process. It's a 3-step process. Number 1, comparative sales. Number 2, comparative listings. Number 3 is we'll produce this beautiful looking report for you. Okay, so let me go to step number 2. I've chosen 2 of the past sales, which I like. You can choose how many more you like. And then the second step would give you an overview of the current listings on the market. Now you'll see some of the listings are represented by these green pins, and others are these little hammers, and others would have a price on it. So again, we want to make it easy for you. We want to make you go, hey, where are all the listings? How are they being sold? So any listing that's got a price, our asking price, there's a price. Any listings that's got a little hammer represent an auction. And if it's negotiation, if it's tender, will just be a green pin. So you can easily tell by looking at the map. Now, I know this is the second step, but just like step number 1, you can easily just filter them, only interested in freehold, only interested in mixed housing suburban, show me all the listings in the area. Now there are much fewer, and then you can reduce your radius, maybe 1K as well. Okay, there are only 4, cool. If you're happy with them, you can click this button, add all records. Once you do that, you go to your own listing, my list again. All of the listings have been added here. And if you're an agent, you know that, hey, there's another listing across the road. It just hasn't got picked up by the system. Don't need to worry. We allow you to add your own records. So this black button here, go add my own listing. So you just go 1, 2, 3, and then all of the information that you provide can be added in this process. So, the power's in your hand. So once you're happy with this, we go to the third and final step, which is a comparative market analysis report. So this report, you can upload your logo to this report. You can upload a cover page, about us, contact us, etc. You can go, hey, this is prepared for Stacey. This is prepared by the Relab team. My number, email. You can put everything here, and then if you're not happy with the image, you can upload an image from your own sort of source, or if you have taken an image of the property on the site, you can add it here. If there are any information here you're not happy about, for example, the number of bedrooms not accurate, you can edit that so that when you present this to a vendor, everything's kosher. You can provide comment. This is my property, blah blah blah. Save. Everything gets saved here. Here you have the option to come up with a recommended price range. So you go, this property is between 950 to 105. Save. The price range gets reflected here. We show you the latest council valuation and a rental estimate as well. If it's 3-bedroom, then generally speaking, the rental for range for this area would be blah. Okay, so this is the second page of our CMA. Now, if I carry on, we provide you like a quick title view of what's on the title for this property, all the underground services, comparable sales list. So here you can go upload an image. If you're not happy with this one, you can delete, you can edit, etc. You can add your own sales record. Comparable listings, same sort of deal. You can upload the image and swap it out if you don't like it. Change anything here, or add notes, make notes. We show you the days on the market for these listings. Add your own listing if you think something's missing. And then we finish the CMA with a school zones report and demographics, sorry, market trends before demographics. This shows of the last 3 months for the suburb, how many of them are auction, negotiation or tender, number of sales per month, and the median sales price over the last 12 months or so. And then we finish the report with some high-level demographics data. Yeah, so this is Relapse CMA. It's still in beta mode, meaning that we welcome you to give it a try. If you're a Relapse Pro user already, you can find it. Let me just remind everyone where you can find this report. You can find it by clicking on the top right corner in CMA. This is one way to find it. The other way to find it is if you go into any address that you've searched before. If you scroll down, there is a comparative market analysis CMA shortcut. If you click on that button, it will take you straight to the CMA flow. This is how you can find the CMA. But if you're yet to sign up to Relapse Pro and you want to have a go, you can just sign up online for a free trial, and free trial will give you unlimited access to CMA and many other of our tools for free for 2 weeks. Okay, so why is CMA important? It's important for a number of reasons. Number one, if you're a real estate agent, this is a must-have tool for you, right? Our CMA works perfectly on mobile. It's mobile optimized, and again, Relapse CMA is the only tool to allow you to do CMA on mobile. Never heard of that before, right? So we've done it. And if you're an investor, if you're a property professional, if you're just looking at buying a home, this will give you the most accurate gauge on price, right? Based on transacted sales, right? So, if you're looking at buying a site, do your CMA search, refine your search criteria, work out the land per square meter or floor per square meter, and use that as a bit of benchmark. Because before this, I've always find it quite. I'll stop sharing now and see if we have any questions. I always find it quite shocking that, if you invest in shares, if you invest in crypto, right, you have charts coming out of years. You have charts, numbers, earning per share, ROI, ROC, interest rate, yield curve, blah, 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 right? That helps you to make the right investment decision. And there is Bloomberg Terminal and other professional software that allow you to do that. But when you're looking at property investment or buying for your first home, which is a huge investment, there is no benchmark, right? There is, do you like this house or not? But what we're trying to do here at Relab is we have the aspiration to be the Bloomberg for real estate in New Zealand and across the ditch, because we think that you need clear and transparent and comprehensive and unbiased data to help you and your client make the right decisions. So that's the principle behind the development of CMA and many other of our products.
Yeah, there's a question from Daniel. So the system doesn't actually generate a sale range.
So Daniel, I think what you're referring to is do we give you a automated sales range? We could, but I think it's quite easy to extract that. Once you've done the CMA, you see the range of, because when the system generates a sales range, we find 9 out of 10 times as an agent, you need to go there and change it anyway, because the machine's never going to be better at what the human experience or human brain does. So we give you the benchmark, i.e. dollar per square meter. We give you the ability to choose a short list of past sales, and it's up to you to put in a sales range. And some agents decide to or choose not to include it, or just have the CV there as a reference point. Cool, thanks.
And a really good question from Nathan. Do you agree with the valuation of improvement value? Wouldn't suburbs with older houses have lower CVs than suburbs with new builds?
Yeah. Look, Nathan, that's a really, really good point. And I can't speak on behalf of the council, but I think, as a council, they do have a pretty tough job, right? To come up with a CV number for all property owners, for all ratepayers, and trying to make everyone happy is almost impossible. So I really think that that's their valuation method, and that CV or RV has only one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to meet their legal requirement to come up with a valuation for their rating purposes. So CV is one of many, many reference point when you're looking at a valuation of any properties, right? But CV is not be or end or number, and it's a snapshot from 2 years ago. So do I agree or not agree? I don't think it's right or wrong. They have to settle as one method, right, that would work across all residential properties in Auckland. And we know that it's not going to be perfect. That's why, take it with a pinch of salt, because CV was purely there to satisfy rate sort of legal requirement from a ratings point of view. But if you're looking at what is the market value range, how much should this price be assigned to a property? How much should you pay at the auction? Use Relap to figure out the underground services, the title types, any hidden sort of things on the title or on the property that you should know about. And once you've done all of that base ground research, use the CMA to give you the comparative range and then come up with your own number. Some people would only compare development site and work out dollar per square meter and assign that value. Yeah, I mean, to me, your CVs, your CMAs, they're not one thing. CV serves one purpose and one purpose only, and CMA is a completely different thing.
Cool. And shall we go back to Serene's
Sure.
question?
What was Reen's question?
Do you reckon that the high CV increase in Whangaparoa is influenced by the pen link to State Highway 1?
So Serene, I mean, I'm not a Whangaparoa loco, so I have no authority to speak on behalf of their matters. Personally speaking, I don't think so. Why? Because the CV was done last year. I don't think that at that time when the CV was done, the pending sort of infrastructure decision what was already made. And secondly, I don't know whether this sort of pen link, which is an investment decision that may or may not happen in the future, would have a substantial impact on the CV today. And from a council's point of view, they will look at the macro level instead of zooming in on individual sort of infrastructure investment decisions, because that will make it quite biased. They can only come at this from a macro level. But I can also show you something else. So give me 1 sec, Serene. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'll show you guys the tool under the hood of how do we come up with some of these stats. So I'm going to share my screen again. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. There's a bit of an echo going, so I don't know what's going on with mine. But let me know.
Oh, your sounds dropped out a bit.
Okay. Test, 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 testing 1, 2.
It's a little bit funny, but I think we'll be okay.
Okay, let me. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's going on with my sound. Please bear with me. So,
It's
Rick,
random.
coming to your funk rock. So what we're looking at is really sort of data dashboard. And if I click on funk rock,
Sorry, your sound's really jumpy now. You're dropping in and out every word.
hello, hello, okay, hello, is it better?
No. Just happened all of a sudden. You sound like a robot.
Don't know what happened there. What if I really, really quiet? No, sorry. But sorry, what I'm trying to show you is, um, no, the funk rock is a small segment of address. It's not like 10. Over to you, Snake.
I'm going to translate that because I'm not sure if anyone can understand. But Whanga Pro is just a small sample size of a wider picture. And Bing just said, lol, the dashboard is Relab's secret weapon. Haha. We might have to do another one showing the dashboard. Cool. If there's no more questions, I'm going to quickly put the link to our article if you want to go ahead and read that. We talk about a few more points other than location and zoning. So go read that. Yeah, we've got some exciting webinars in the lineup, so do keep an eye on what we've coming up. Keep an eye on our Facebook or LinkedIn pages is probably the best place to find us. And yeah, go check out our CMA if you've got some time, and let us know your feedback. Ask us any questions you've had. We're open to anything. So yeah, just keep in contact with us and we can help you out with anything you need. Yeah, that is all we've got for you today. So thanks, Night. And yeah, thanks to everyone for attending.
Cool. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a
Bye.
good weekend. Bye.